Welcome back to Mike's Man Cave and welcome back to another how-to video. In this video I'm going to show you how to convert from auto locking hubs, and this is what they look like off the car. I have already changed one of these and we're going to convert those to these high quality manual locking hubs. Now these are manual locking, which means they positively lock all the time. The auto locking hubs sort of do their own thing. Sometimes they will lock, sometimes they won't lock. If you drive in reverse, they unlock. So in reverse, a lot of times they're pretty much useless to have the auto locking hubs. They do nothing. Whereas these hubs here, once you've locked them, they stay locked. Doesn't matter if you're going forward, backwards, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you've got locked hubs. So there's no doubt in your mind when you're four-wheel driving, when you're relying on these things, whether or not your front wheels are actually doing any work in your four-wheel drive. I know there's a sort of convenience factor to having the auto locking hubs, and they might be alright for a lot of people, but if you intend on doing some proper four-wheel driving, this is one of the very first upgrades you should be doing. These are quite easy to fit, there's some little tricks to it, so let's go out. I'll show you how to take the auto locking ones off and install these ones. Now we're doing this on a Mitsubishi L300 Express, however a lot of Pajeros have the exact same hubs, and there's also a lot of other four-wheel drives that have auto locking hubs that would greatly benefit from these. So let's go out and get started. Now the first thing you have to do is get the cover off here, and these are twist on cover. And that's how they come off. Now there's a little retaining clip in here that retains the axle, and that just comes off like that. Now that wasn't on really well. That was supposed to be on a lot better than that. The next job will be to undo these 6 bolts. In this case they are Allen heads, and a lot of times these also strip out. So hopefully we'll be able to get all these off without any problems. If they don't, you actually have to cut the heads of these with a grinder and just get them off, and in that case you do destroy this hub, which is a bit of a shame, but really I'm not going to reuse them. I did have to grind some of the bolts off on the other side that I've already done. Now that one is stuffed, so I'm going to have to get the grinder and cut the head off that, and that's just what it is. These have been there for a long time, so now the grinder comes out. Now let's clean this up a little bit. We'll put some fresh grease on there. Now I do like to use some of this stuff on the mating surfaces just to stop any excess water getting in there. You don't need a lot because it's not a large area. Now this has been greased inside and out with fresh high quality grease, and now it just slips on there. Now we put all 6 bolts in with brand new spring washers, and I like putting a little bit of grease on the thread to stop it seizing up like the last one did. We want to try and avoid those problems for when we've got to service this in the future. Now we have to get the clip back on, but the problem is the axle needs to come out. How do we get it to come out? You need one of these, a little extractor tool. I've got a whole kit of these that I bought off eBay ages ago. This is a 3/16 size, and it just threads into that hole there. It just needs to bite into the axle. See how the axle is all the way in now? So we can now grab this and carefully pull the axle all the way back out. And now we can hold it with our pliers and get that clip back on. And that is your clip that's got to go back on there, and I have not found any easy way of doing this. This is always the stuff around. Okay, we've got that on now. So we've got that clip on, so now we need to just pull this out as far as it will go and push this back so it clips into position. There you go, I think that's worked, and now pin's just pulled out. Now if that just pulls out, you might have to just put it back in. But that seems to have locked into position now. Can just have a closer look at that. One way to test if this is actually locked into position is you try and spin it. See, like that? If it spins around easily, it is in position. If it doesn't spin freely, it means that it is still on top of the splines and needs to go back into its position where it is. But this one spins quite easily, so it is back in position where it's supposed to be. Now I like to put some extra grease in there now, especially on top of the outer splines, the large splines, and make sure all this is greased, because that's where the mechanism slides in and out to lock your hubs. Give that a wipe over, because we're going to put some sealant on there. Now this is a very thin layer of sealant. A lot of people don't put any sealant. I like just to put a little bit, because it'll just fill in any gaps and stop water getting in there. I'll try and avoid doing water crossings. A lot of people love driving their four-wheel drive through water, but it causes a lot of problems. Water gets into your wheel bearings, it gets into your diff housing, it gets everywhere. And it requires a lot of servicing. Now, as you can see there, I've put a very light coating of grease on this. You don't need too much because all that's already greased. And the inner splines there have been greased as well. Make sure it is in the free position, and this is retracted. And then all we need to do is line up the splines where they line up. There you go. That's where it wants to be. Now you can test that by holding this in and going to the lock position, and you should feel the pressure of this pushing out. Like that. Which means the splines have extended and grabbed the axle, and now the pressure should be off. So there's no pressure on there now, that'll just stay there. If I lock this, the splines have pushed out, so if I let this go, this will come off. So that's why you leave it in the free position. Then you get your bolts, and I just put the tiniest amount of grease on there because I don't want these getting stuck and seizing. So now we'll nip these up. You don't have to overly tighten these, and you go opposites. So that's the opposite one there, opposite one there, opposite, opposite, opposite. And I'm not overly tightening these. I'm going to torque these up with a torque wrench later. I just need to tighten them enough so that they stay there. I will put the torque reading on the screen for these bolts and those bolts just so you can torque these up to the right setting. So to test these, I'm going to jack the wheel up the ground and spin it to see if it spins freely, and then I will put it to the lock position and see if it engages the axle and spins the axle, and then we'll release it again and see if it releases. So let's do that. So now we've got the wheel jacked off the ground and it spins freely. So now we lock it and it should engage the axle now. There you go. Now we're turning the whole diff. So it has engaged. You can even hear it. And now, hopefully it will release again. Need to rock it around a bit. It will release in a second. There you go. It's released. And let's lock it again. There you go, locks instantly. And release. There you go, it's released. Works as intended, beautiful. Here we are, the job's done. I've actually repainted those wheels after I finished the job, and I've actually polished the side of the van and added a little sticker to it. So these wheels are now repainted, the hubs are fitted, and it's all ready to go. Now the other side, I've also fitted the hubs. So this side here also has the hubs fitted, but the wheels aren't painted yet because the van still needs polishing, which I'll probably do tomorrow. I'm not sure if you can tell the difference in the video, but this side hasn't been polished and the other side has. And I don't want to polish this and then destroy the new paint on the wheels. So polishing first, then paint the wheels, and we're all done. Now if you've got any questions about anything you saw in today's video, do me a favour and leave your question down below in the comment section, and I'll try and answer it to the best of my ability. In the meantime, if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favour and give me a big thumbs up, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button for more videos from Mike's Man Cave. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.